Steel, gull wings, and a clock that bites back. In Back to the Future, the DeLorean arrives like a cold mirror for our warm, ordinary streets. It looked futuristic already, so the story did not need to explain why it felt impossible. Brushed stainless skin caught headlights like lab light, turning every night scene into a statement. Gull-wing doors opened upward, giving Doc the kind of entrance a garage inventor dreams of. The sharp wedge shape read as speed, even when parked, like a decision made too fast. The car was rare but not royal, which fit a scientist living loud on thin margins. It carried the aura of new tech optimism, plus the anxiety that machines might outrun humans. A safer early concept gave way to something mobile because motion makes time feel personal. A car can chase, flee, hide, and return, which let the plot breathe between shocks. The DeLorean also looked slightly wrong for suburbia, so Marty's danger felt visible immediately. Its dark glass and low nose made it feel secretive, like a prototype that escaped paperwork. Inside, the cabin was tight enough for tension, yet roomy enough for dials and drama. That balance let the filmmakers dress it with cables and vents without losing its silhouette. Doc's choice had character logic too, because he would pick style over practicality every time. Even the name sounded like a company from tomorrow, suggesting a future that was still fragile. It was a dream car with rough edges, echoing the film's theme that progress has consequences. When it finally turns into the machine, the car's own strangeness makes the leap feel earned. Next comes the moment where invention meets risk, and one decision rewrites every rule around them. They turned a stock DeLorean into a prop spaceship. On screen, it had to feel engineered, dangerous, and strangely plausible in your own driveway. The stainless body stayed mostly bare because paint would kill the cold, clinical light bounce. They strapped on ducts and vents to suggest cooling, even if the real heat was pure fiction. Cables, tubes, and labels were layered like a nervous system, making the car look wired to think. The rear got a reactor box and exhaust details, built tough enough to survive door slams. Inside, the flux capacitor and time circuits turned a simple cabin into a believable cockpit. For close shots, the time readouts were practical props, so actors could react to real blinking cues. For wider beats, simpler shells could take abuse, saving the hero build from dents and cracked trim. Stunt cars needed hidden reinforcements, because gull-wing doors and low noses hate curb hits. Some shots leaned on miniatures and forced scale, letting sparks, smoke, and lightning play safer. When the car vanished, bright flashes and hard cuts did the heavy lifting, not endless computer polish. The fire trails were a separate practical gag, staged so the camera could sell speed and danger. Sound design added turbine-like whines and electrical snaps, so the stainless car felt alive before it moved. Lighting was tuned to catch fingerprints and edges, because steel can look flat if you miss angles. Even the smoke was planned, hiding seams, thickening beams of light, and making the air feel charged. Across sequels, bolt-on parts evolved, swapping the reactor look for cleaner add-ons that read instantly. Every upgrade kept the silhouette readable, so one glance still screamed DeLorean, even under hardware clutter. Once the build was believable, the car could start acting like a friend, threat, and promise. At some point, the car starts to care. In this story, the DeLorean has one job: to protect two friends from time itself. Doc builds dreams inside it, and Marty learns trust by stepping into that cold cockpit. The gull-wing doors feel like a pact. Closing them means you accept the rules are broken. When it fails to start, it is not a gag, it is a heartbeat skipping. Framing treats it like a face, and the headlights give it a stare you can read. Its loud electronics turn silence into suspense, so every pause feels like the universe listening. The car is freedom, but also a trap, because every jump cuts away a safe life. Marty grips the wheel like a confession, pretending bravery while the dashboard shouts impossible demands. Doc talks to it like a partner, not metal, because invention is lonely without something answering back. Each return to the driveway feels earned, like the car is carrying guilt and relief together. Stakes rise when the DeLorean becomes fragile. A single mistake could strand them in wrong decades. It also becomes a secret language, wires and glowing panels that tell fans they belong. The stainless body stays clean and distant, which makes the human panic around it feel warmer. Even off-screen, people remember its shape first, because it stored their first taste of wonder. That is character work. The DeLorean creates choices, and choices reveal who Marty wants to be. It is also a warning: power can be built in a garage, then escape into history. By the end, you do not just watch it, you worry for it like family. And once you feel that bond, you start asking how filmmakers pulled off the chaos safely. That stainless DeLorean was not solid metal. VHS memories, forum threads, and TikTok edits blur details until the car gains powers it never had. Many swear it cannot rust, but stainless panels sit on fiberglass and the chassis can corrode. Some think scratches vanish with any scrub, yet wrong pads embed iron and create orange stains. Gull-wing doors look magical, so people assume they open anywhere, but low ceilings can trap you. Fans repeat that 88 mph is the car's limit, but it is only the story's trigger. Some ask where to buy a flux capacitor, but it was a prop invented for the film. People swear Doc always used Mr. Fusion, yet the first trip runs on stolen plutonium. The movie makes it sound like a rocket, but the stock DeLorean was never built for speed. That aggressive growl is not its real engine note because sound editors layered other sources. Collectors hunt the one real car, but production used several built for close-ups and stunts. Another rumor says every original was crushed, yet at least one hero car survives in a museum. Some fans think the car was always the plan, but early drafts used a refrigerator. It changed partly from safety worries, since filmmakers feared kids copying it by climbing into fridges. Edits online imply the DeLorean arrived from the future, but the story insists Doc built it. Stainless steel sounds tough, so some call it bulletproof, yet the panels are thin and dent. Fans ask for a hover conversion kit, but floating shots relied on rigs, composites, and imagination. Some believe Out of Time was an official plate, but it was a joke built for the camera. Once the rumors clear, the real chaos matters, because making this car work was controlled madness. They kept breaking the time machine between takes. The car had to look perfect, run on cue, and survive stunts on a ticking schedule. Universal built multiple DeLoreans, each assigned a job, because one body could not do all. The hero car carried the clean details, so every scuff meant a reset and delay. On some nights, the DeLorean refused to cooperate, so crews pushed it and hid the struggle. Stainless panels reflected lights and crew, turning simple angles into puzzles solved by inches. A cutaway car was literally opened up, so cameras could live inside the cockpit. The stunt car needed reinforcements, because gull-wing hinges and low noses hate hard landings. Fire trails were staged separately, with timing marks, because real rubber and flames do not mix. Rain rigs and high-voltage gags demanded safety calls, because sparks near fuel is panic fuel. Add-on tubes and vents rattled loose at speed, so grips reattached parts between takes. Ford offered money to swap in a Mustang, and the team chose story over cash. Then the lead actor changed mid-shoot, and the DeLorean scenes had to be rebuilt fast. Michael J. Fox juggled another set, so nights stretched and tempers stayed close to boiling. Continuity photos became survival tools, keeping every cable, label, and gauge consistent across shoot days. For the finale, a stunt DeLorean was sacrificed to a train, no second chance. That loss forced backups, storage, and repairs, because the schedule never pauses for grief. Every department fought for minutes with the car, and pressure turned craft into triage. After that chaos, the car left the set as a shared shorthand for time travel everywhere. A remote-controlled DeLorean that treats time like data. In an era of analog dashboards, this DeLorean spoke in digits and behaved like a machine. Brushed stainless panels stayed unpainted, hinting at aerospace thinking and a future obsessed with surfaces. Gull-wing doors opened upward like aircraft hatches, turning entry into ritual and engineering into theater. 3-time displays separated destination, present, and last departure like tabs on an early computer. A keypad let you program a date like coordinates, long before touchscreens became everyday muscle memory. A digital speed readout turned motion into numbers, making acceleration feel like a live system metric. For the first test, Doc drove it by remote, a driverless trick years ahead of car tech. Warning tones and status lights acted like system alerts, teaching audiences to read machines emotionally. The time circuits framed travel as software, with inputs, outputs, and hard errors you could feel. Plutonium as a power module, then Mr. Fusion sold the dream of plug-and-play energy. Cables and vents on the body suggested thermal management, like modern EVs showing off cooling paths. The flux capacitor sat like a core processor, a glowing box that implied computation inside chaos. That last time departed window worked like a system log, recording state changes for humans. Choosing a destination time felt like GPS, turning history into coordinates you could type and trust. The story demanded a strict speed gate, making physics feel like an engineering requirement, not magic. When it later flies, control feels like drone stability, not fantasy, with inputs and response. Color coding and labels made complex systems readable, a user interface lesson hidden in sci-fi. That nerdy interface plus real stakes is why audiences carried this car far beyond cinemas. That DeLorean became the internet's favorite time machine. It looked like tomorrow, sounded like danger, and carried a simple promise: time is touchable. It jumped from theaters to car meets, where owners build replicas and strangers start talking. Kids carried it as die-cast toys, then grew up and hunted real DeLoreans in classifieds. Model kits, posters, and VHS rewatches kept the dashboard glow living on bedroom walls. The out-of-time plate became a wink online, slapped on avatars, stickers, and wedding props. Memes boiled time travel down to 88 motsirs, and everyone instantly got the reference. Theme parks turned it into a ride seat, making time travel feel physical and shared. TV ads borrowed its silhouette to sell gadgets, because stainless and LEDs scream future. Fan builds rolled into charity events, prom nights and parades, renting wonder for an hour. At conventions, the car became a photo booth, with Docs and Martys trading poses non-stop. It also became a museum piece, treated like a real artifact from a movie dream. Video games let you drive it like a trophy, because nostalgia feels better when steerable. Its time circuits taught audiences to picture time travel as buttons, screens, and alarms. Car culture kept the base model alive, saving DeLoreans from scrap through film devotion. Online restoration videos rack up views, turning bolts, labels, and wiring into comfort content. Even the stage musical rebuilt the cockpit, proving the DeLorean reads instantly from any distance. Every new generation finds it, then Googles the real company story, hiding behind the fantasy. But the deepest impact is emotional. It rewired memory into a shared language across strangers. A failed sports car became a global time machine. It began as a bold company promise, stainless skin and gull-wing doors aimed at the future. Production was brief, and money problems crushed the dream before the car found its audience. Then filmmakers needed a time machine that looked like tomorrow, yet could sit in suburbia. The DeLorean's sharp wedge and bare metal turned one glance into instant science fiction. When the movie hit, a struggling sports car was reborn as a shared cultural shorthand. Kids learned the shape from posters and toys, long before they learned how cars work. Owners discovered fame came with confusion. People asked for flux capacitors instead of spare parts. The real car had quirks and uneven quality, so repairs became a hobby, then a badge. As the 80s ended, attention moved on, and the DeLorean slipped back into niche circles. But the film stayed on TV, and every rerun recruited new fans with fresh obsessions. Home video, and later the internet, made scenes replayable, turning quotes and numbers into memes. Fan clubs mapped vines, traded restoration tips, and kept parts flowing when official support vanished. Replica builds spread at conventions, where strangers bonded fast because the car signaled belonging. Anniversary screenings and live events pulled it back into headlines, proving nostalgia still sells tickets. Collectors push prices up, while everyday fans chase the feeling with model kits and photos. Even new shows and games borrow its silhouette, because it reads as time travel instantly. So, the DeLorean cycles between failure and fame, powered by story, community, and replay culture. Now the comeback raises a bigger question. What does it take to keep the myth alive? Some DeLoreans now live behind glass still. Its legacy is inventory, paperwork, and fan hands, keeping stainless dreams running in the real world. One screen used Back to the Future Time Machine sits in a museum, treated like a relic. Other builds hide in private garages, rolled out only for anniversaries, weddings, and charity laps. Collectors pay for provenance, because a signed document can matter as much as stainless panels. At auctions, clean originals fight replicas for attention, and both sell the same feeling. Texas specialists still stock parts and rebuild cars, turning a dead brand into a living supply chain. Restorations range from factory correct to wild resto-mods, with modern brakes, wiring, and cooling. Tribute builds add flux boxes and glowing dials because the movie version is the trophy. Rental companies and fan clubs keep one nearby, letting strangers step inside a childhood memory. Online restoration videos turn fingerprints and bolts into comfort viewing, and comments trade repair wisdom. The stainless look keeps inspiring designers, from retro future games to sleek concept cars and posters. Even legal fights over trademarks show the car still moves money, not just emotions. Museums preserve it like a cultural artifact, while owners preserve it like a weekend ritual. For some fans, the base DMC-12 matters most, a flawed sports car with brave design. For others, it is the time machine, and the stainless skin becomes a blank stage. That split keeps the community lively, purists arguing bolts while dreamers chase movie accuracy. Decades later, kids still recognize the silhouette, then learn the real car story afterward. And when that curiosity hits, the final goodbye lands harder because myths are built by people. Some goodbyes sound like stainless steel cooling. This is for the car that made time feel close enough to touch. It started as a risky design, then became a shared secret between strangers. You did not need the plot to recognize it, just that shape and that cold shine. It taught a whole generation that the future could live in a garage. For kids, it was permission to dream bigger than their street. For adults, it was a reminder that courage sometimes looks weird and homemade. Fans still rebuild it because memory deserves something you can hear and hold. At car meets, it turns small talk into instant friendship. Online, it keeps looping, clips, jokes, and restorations feeding the same spark. It outlived its company because stories can rescue machines from being forgotten. And it proved one strange car can become a language. So here is the thanks for the thrill, the hope, and the return. What detail about the DeLorean lives in your head most? The doors or the dashboard? Follow for more vehicles with real stories, not just nostalgia.